All right, question of the day. Are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose? mm I know. I know that one sting a little bit. Look, every once in a while when I feel like I'm slacking off or whatever, I check myself and I ask myself, Steve, are you actually trying to win right now or are you just trying not to mess anything up? Because those are two different games. One is living an active life and the other one is living a reactive life. And it's really, really hard to build the life that you actually want if you're just reacting to the life that you currently have. And I thought this would be a good subject to talk about today because a lot of times I think we slide into this playing not to lose mindset and we don't even realize it. So let's get into it, baby. Let's get into it. Happy Monday. All right, so quick brain talk. Y'all know I got to talk about the brain at least once every episode, right? Your brain is wired to avoid loss. Okay, there's a whole thing behind it called loss aversion. All right, basically, our brains hate losing more than it likes winning. And that's because it's designed to keep us safe and not necessarily help us reach our full potential. That's why you see people stay at a job that they hate for years instead of going after the career that they actually want. Okay, losing the stability feels scarier than the possibility of gaining freedom. And that's what playing not to lose looks like. And the crazy part is it feels responsible, right? It feels smart, but a lot of times it's really just coming from scarcity. Checking your bank account every day, just hoping that the number don't go down instead of trying to figure out a way to make that number grow. Staying in a relationship that's just okay because dating is so exhausting. That's just maintaining the current situation, hoping nothing falls apart. You're reacting to life instead of actually shaping it, building the life that you want. I hope this is making sense. Now, let me be clear. Playing to win does not mean being reckless, okay? It means being intentional. When you play to win, you accept that losing sometimes is just part of the process, okay? That's the price you pay to get the bigger opportunities. And when you start thinking that way, the questions that you ask yourself start to change. So instead of asking something like, what if this fails? You might start asking yourself, what would it take for this to actually work? You see how that slight shift in mindset, it changes the whole outcome. Now, here's an example. Playing not to lose might look like taking that safe promotion just because you're scared of being unemployed. Playing to win might look like negotiating for a piece of ownership of that company or starting something of your own. Because you're thinking about long-term freedom. One mindset is driven by fear, the other mindset is driven by vision. And that's how intention changes your whole approach. When you're living reactively, you're kind of just putting out fires all the time. And when you start living actively, you're actually building something. I'm trying to describe this the best way I can, y'all. Sometimes I suck getting stuff out of my head and putting it into the world. So this is my way of describing it. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Steve, how do I make that shift in mindset? Hey, I thought you never asked. The good news is you don't have to completely change who you are. Okay, you don't have to change your whole entire personality. You just have to change what you're aiming for. All right. Most of us are constantly asking our brain to keep us safe, but your brain is already doing that. That's why you're still alive. Okay, I think it's doing a pretty good job. You're still breathing. So now what we want to do is start asking ourselves, what's the smartest move I could make right now that moves my life forward? Okay, that's actually gonna move the needle in my own life. And what happens is when we start operating that way, even if something don't work, we're still training ourselves to think bigger. We're still operating like someone who's trying to win, not someone who's just trying to survive. And a lot of people never make that switch because they're afraid of failure. Okay, but here's the truth. Failure is recoverable. Okay, you can recover from failure. You can learn from it. You can adjust, but you can't recover from never trying. So yeah, that's what was on my mind today, heavy, because I was asking myself that. It's like, dude, are you still playing to win? Had to check in with myself. You still playing to win, Steve, or are we out here playing not to lose? So ask yourself that question every once in a while, because that little mind shift right there can completely change the direction of your life. Play to win, baby. And as always, if you like this episode, send it to a friend. If you hated this episode, send it to an enemy. But regardless, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And thank you for hearing me out. Peace.